Hello and welcome to Andy
and Marty,
the podcast.
The podcast.
Your favorite source of social commentary
and good vibes. We are out here again today, guys. We are so happy to be back with you guys. We have a very interesting episode, I think, today. We wanted to talk about something that was a little bit more important, we thought, than what we've been talking about lately. You know, I feel like our episodes recently have just been kind of like very casual, very fun, very low stakes, if you will. We've been talking about just kind of like some random pop culture events.
We almost boxed in the last episode about Sweden.
We did not box. We did not box at all.
At certain points, we were like, I don't know.
That's true. Actually, I do take that back. I guess that at the last episode, if you guys haven't seen it, we talked about...
We got heated.
It was not heated. We were just excited. I don't know. We were like building suspense for the last episode, but we were talking about how we're moving to Sweden. But anyway, today we wanted to talk about a major thing that is becoming pretty viral recently, which is what people refer to as the digitine, or the digital guillotine, if you will.
Or the blockout.
Or the blackout, yes. I've heard people call it that as well.
Is it blackout or blockout?
Oh, I don't know.
Pretty sure it's the blockout.
Okay, that makes sense. The blockout. Yeah, definitely. So if you all have not heard of what this is, basically there is this mass movement that was sparked by an incident that happened at the Met Gala. Now, you guys know the Met Gala. It's the big fancy event where people pay $75,000 for a seat and they wear a huge, nice, crazy outfit and sit there in the Met in New York and just, you know, be rich and enjoy the Costume Institute installation. Well, this is obviously known to be a very elite event, extremely elite, hosted by Vogue. You know, I mean, it's just, it is for these people at the top. And an influencer made a video in which she made a TikTok with the sound from the Marie Antoinette movie where she says, "Let them eat cake." Okay, I'll probably actually put it in here so you guys can hear the clip and what it sounds like.
Let them eat cake.
So, this sparked a lot of outrage because this is in reference to Marie Antoinette, who was the Queen of France at the time of the French Revolution, okay? Famously very disliked by the people, and she said this. She said, "Let them eat cake."
It was influencer Haley Khalil.
Yeah, Haley. I knew that was her name. Yeah, Haley Khalil.
She posted a clip of herself.
Haley Bailey on TikTok.
Yeah, Haley Bailey posted a TikTok of herself dressed for the Met, lip-syncing a line spoken from the Kirsten Dunst Marie Antoinette saying, "Let them eat cake."
Yes.
The infamous, possibly fictional quote is said to have been spoken by the French Queen after she was told her starving subjects were running out of bread. TikTok users didn't find the joke funny, and she posted a response video declaring a digital class war, stating, somebody posted a TikTok about this and saying, "It's time to block all of the celebrities, influencers, and wealthy socialites who are not using their resources to help those in dire need. We gave them their platform. It's time to take it back. Take our views away, our likes, our comments, our money, by blocking them on all social media and digital platforms."
Basically, people were super pissed that she was being so insensitive when it's like, you went to the Met Gala, you paid $75,000 for a table, okay? This girl
for a ticket. Yeah.
She has, for a ticket, I'm sorry. It's like $200,000 something for a table.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's insane. And obviously the outfit you're wearing is multiple thousands of dollars, if not
probably
millions of dollars.
100,000 minimum.
Some people.
Yeah.
And people just could not believe that she'd be so out of touch, because it's just like people all around the country, all around the world are suffering, dying, being victims of war, of course. You know, there's so many insane issues that are going on in the world right now. And
specifically Palestine.
And it's like, again, like Marie Antoinette, like you were saying, famously insensitive as well. And that's why the people hated her, because they were starving and she was wearing these opulent gowns and, you know, had all the resources in the world and was always eating these cakes. And so she's like, let them eat cake. Give them some cake so they don't get upset. You know, the peasants.
Well, first of all, that quote could have never been said. first of all. And second of all, there are a lot of people, I'm a history buff, y'all. There's a lot of people who do say that Marie Antoinette was essentially like, you know, the face of the issue.
Of course.
And that she was targeted, even though she was a member of the royal family that had married in from another country, right? Like, she wasn't even French, and she was put as the face of this. And there's a lot of people who support Marie Antoinette regardless of whatever she may have said, right? However, obviously, in context to the situation, that was just something that was, I mean, come on, you know, like, what are you doing, girl?
So out of touch, like, the fact that you would actually have the nerve to do something like that, it's just insane. And she had to backtrack so hard. She made an apology video where she was like, I'm not elite. I'm just a normal person. I didn't even get invited. I had to pay a ticket. And, like, people, of course, were pulling all these receipts where she did a house tour of, like, my $12,000 a month, like, apartment in New York. Like, you know, clearly an extremely privileged person has millions of followers on social media making all of this money. And it's just like, you know, you're just mad that you got caught in your elitism.
Hey,
you know?
Bailey.
And
you got caught.
this caused this, like, massive, you know, like, outcry where people were like, you know what? Forget all of these freaking people. Forget all of these influencers. Forget all these celebrities that are just distractions, that are just exploiting people, that are just part of the problem. Honestly. Yes, of course, there are creators who are not, you know, perpetuating these kinds of things. But there's a ton who are.
No, I mean, I'm the type of person that I can't just look at a post. I have to look at the comments. Sometimes I get dragged into comment battles. I'm a commenter, okay? I'm a commenter. And I'm an interesting commenter, and I'm an educated commenter. I'm not going to just say, like, my first, like, you know, insensitive thing that comes to my mind. I'm gonna engage in a conversation if I'm allowed, if I can, with somebody. And I saw this one comment on this football, like, video of, like, you know, this huge stadium with so many people that were so excited about the football game. And, like, literally, like, I'm talking thousands and thousands of people. Like, the bleachers, the stands were, like, literally shaking up and down.
Yeah, the
like,
bleachers. Right?
Yeah, like, there's so much energy towards this game. And this comment, I was like, okay, you know what? This is the more pessimistic way of viewing things, but it's true. He was like, if people put this much energy and emotion and this much passion towards changing the world, towards doing something good for the world, what would the world look like if we had all of these grown-ass men that are just spending all their money on tickets to see a game and to see a ball being kicked around and to spend on beer and snacks and all this stuff? Can you imagine what we could do as a society? And you know what? That I think about also the quote, you know, the bread and circuses, you know, it's like the Roman way of just distracting people from politics and distracting people from what's going on in their society. Just give them bread and circus. It's
giving let them eat cake.
It is. It's giving let's give them entertainment so that they don't focus on changing something.
Yes.
And here we are, you know, honestly, obviously as Americans and obviously around the world, you know, like anywhere in the world, obviously I think consuming media it's our thing, you know. We love to watch movies, we love to watch TV, we love to get on our phone, we love to read the news.
Pop culture is, like, huge.
Yes, that's why we even talk about it.
Beyond even the United States, like, you go most places in the world and they're familiar with like a
Kim
lot
Kardashian.
of social,
Yep.
you know, things like pop culture things from the United States.
No, it's true.
And yeah, so, it's wild.
Yeah, and my point is that it's like, I don't know. I just think to myself, guys, the world is changing. I don't know. I think, well, first of all, we're the most educated generation in, you know, history. You know, we have, like, the most people that have college degrees. And, like, yeah, like, people can say whatever they want to say about it. It's, like, controversial to get a college degree nowadays. You know, people just tell people, like, just go to trade school, just do this, you know, blah, blah, blah. Everyone can't have a college degree, which I guess is true when you think about it. You know, we do need people that do trades and all this stuff. But my point is that more and more people have a college degree than ever before. And we are more aware of these things than ever before.
And not just college degrees, though, because I think that there's a lot of people that aren't even, like, first of all, people that aren't even in college, like young teens now that are getting involved in these kinds of things. And of course, older people too. I don't think,
it's really, a generational shift.
Honestly think that it's just like, going to like school, depending on where you go, and also depending on the professors that you have, you will learn certain things about the wider world beyond what you're studying. You know what I mean? But on social media, like, it's different. It's different. That is, I think, what is defining and what is educating this generation really so much is the access to the internet.
The access to any information that you want. Yeah.
Like, that itself is just so powerful for exchanging information and for exchanging truth and the people's voices in a way like never before. Because again, you know, we talk about this like big media entity, right? Like having so much power in the world. And before, like, that was the only media that people had access to. So of course they were, you know, uneducated about the realities because all they had was the narratives that were being constructed to them on their TVs or on their radios.
It was a fabricated reality.
Yes, or what you could track down somehow, you know? And so it's just
find information in a book, in a library.
Yes, because it's like, you know, now we're in a time where it's like you can actively see the consequences of what's going on in the world. You can actively see the suffering of other people. You can actively see the effects of climate change. You can actively see, you know, the effects of capitalism and how it's destroying everything, low key, high key, you know, and how people are just, it's just not fair, you know? All the cracks are being exposed, you know?
This is an unsustainable way of being. That's the bottom line. Yes. In all ways. Like emotionally, mentally, physically, or environmentally, it's just unsustainable. It's an unsustainable way of life, the way that we're living.
And that's why I think that people are just like, dude, these people in power are screwing us over. No one, you know what I mean? Everyone knows that. At least in the United States, right? Like, we are all aware that our leadership is trash. We're all aware that the media is trash, right? People know that these celebrities and these influencers that are like,
they're just indoctrinated.
They're just milking the system. Yeah. And it's like, you know, these people that have billions of dollars, it's off the backs of people that they exploit. Because, you know, it's like we just saw, right? Okay, your favorite artist, like, are they going to give you a free concert? Are the Kardashians going to pay their workers well? No, they're not. There's just so many examples, you know? It's like they're going to create a business that's exploiting people on the other side of the world. Using super cheap materials. It's just
deforesting a forest, it's polluting an environment.
It goes on and on.
Giving people barely starving wages, and then we praise them for it because it's like, oh yay, you did it. You officially have become a cog in the wheel of the machine.
I think that's what it is, though, is that it's like there was like a time where luxury and glamour and money was like aesthetically appealing, and you know, it's this idea of like, I feel like it's like the burnout of the American dream,
dude.
Of wanting to achieve like this, you know, just like peak of consumerism and of wealth and of, you know, just, you know, achieving the highest amount that you can within like this capitalist system, you know?
How rich can you physically get before like the age of 40?
How many resources can you get? How much power can you get?
How many properties can you own?
Right, or how famous can you get even, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think that for a long time that was idealized so much, but again, because of the effects of big media. But now you can hear anybody's voice. So suddenly the people that are, you know, handcrafted, it starts to feel a little bit inauthentic, and you start to realize, and I think that this is something that we've even realized for a long time already, is that the screen that they put in front of you is not what's really happening. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things about this lifestyle that are not glamorous, that are not good, that are not even enjoyable, that are problematic, that are causing suffering to others. Do you know what I mean? And so I think that it's like people are, you know, people don't even want that anymore. People just want to be happy. And not be
struggle. Yeah, and not struggle.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I think about my life and I'm like, my goal my goal, no matter what happens with this podcast, no matter what happens with my books, no matter what happens with my life, my career, whatever, I just don't want to struggle. You know?
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's literally it. And it's like, you know what? If I become a celebrity in the process, I hope that I can be, you know who, like, I think of as, when I think of a celebrity, I think of, like, Bretman Rock. I think of, like, someone who, like, lives on their own little farm, has chickens, has dogs, like, keeps to themselves and has their property for, like, you know, their own privacy, and then, like, goes out into the public sometimes, does events sometimes. Like, that's what I really, like, think about with my life, being a celebrity. But with that also comes this responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, girl, use your platform for good.
Exactly.
And that's what all of this boils down to.
It's as simple
It's
as
like,
that. And
it's like, how can you be a person that's willing to just, like, say, you know what, I don't want to lose $1 million because I'm going to speak about, like, a genocide. I'm going to speak about people dying. I'm going to speak about children dying. I'm going to speak about parents dying, families dying. Like, I'm going to speak about this. Like, and but no, we are witnessing these people make a conscious decision. You know what? I would rather keep that $1 million, or I would rather keep that brand deal, or I would rather keep my good relations with this company that supports this other country. Like, girl, like, you are letting us all down.
It's just like,
you are bad influences.
It's like the modern day sellout. You know, it's just like
you know what though?
Are literally selling your essence to these bigger companies because I feel like it's like, you know, if you're at the very top, you're owned by somebody else. I mean, really, like, let's be honest. If you're not literally directly, like, MK Ultra programmed into the system, like, purposefully, then you are...
Madi.
Well, you know, I mean, seriously, because I feel like it's like, when I think about the Kardashians, it's like, I don't know if you knew this is just a bit of tea, but there is a wide-standing, like, very actually, like, gaining popularity constantly and gaining more, like, evidence constantly, that Corey Gamble, who is, like, the longtime boyfriend of Kris Jenner, is a CIA person. And people have been saying that for years. Even Kanye said that, okay? And so, you know, it's like, when I think about them, I do think that it's like conscious programming, conscious, like, collaboration. It's just like, if you're that rich and you have that many people looking at you, of course it's, like, specifically curated, and it has to have a certain narrative. The same way that the news stations have to have a certain narrative and can't say certain things, it's just like, it's the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's part of the programming.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
And that's the problem.
Programming.
Because everyone's like, dude, you're not even a real person. Like, you're just like a, you know? Like, you're just like this, like, mass consumer robot, you know? That has to, like, perpetuate all these problematic ideals.
Have, like, 10 different faces in your lifetime.
Yes, exactly. It's like, that's a whole other thing.
10 different skin tones in one lifetime.
Like, I feel like it's just very obvious that it's, like, the negative impact of, like, idolizing celebrities that have problematic tendencies is very prevalent and very impactful in many different ways, right? They're the ones that are driving their jets all around the globe and, you know, tossing tons and tons and tons of, you know, gases into the atmosphere with no regard, and you're paying, that's on your dollar. You know, like, that's on your tour ticket. That's on your purchase of their brand.
Skims.
Exactly. I don't know. I feel like it's not our fault as consumers. And even for them, you know, I can look at it and say,
born in a
you're also part of the system. Exactly. Yeah. But that does not mean that we have to continue to just accept that as, oh, well, we should just continue to...
We should all just ignore the issues in the world.
Yes, because the thing is, it's just
because
like,
it's convenient to us.
We can't.
Yeah,
like,
no.
You know, it's like, okay, yeah, you know, you can go to your mansion and you can lock yourself away and you can pretend like you're not part of, like, the bigger world and you can live in a bubble. But the rest of us can't. You know? And so it's just like, of course the tides are going to turn, you know, whether the people that are in those positions at the top want that or not. And I don't know. I think that it's really powerful because it's like, you know, maybe they didn't lose, like, millions of followers, like, through this, you know, digitine process. Like,
hundreds of thousands.
Yes, hundreds of thousands, which is great and just shows you how much, you know, momentum is picking up.
I think that is impressive in itself.
Yeah.
And I really want to give credit to this generation. I honestly just read this article about the fact that, I don't even know who was saying it. It was, look, let me just, like, look at it real quick. It was CBC, like, the Canadian news, whatever. They said that the blockout is clever but may lack focus, experts say. And the bottom line is that the system and these experts and the media are always going to try to downplay how actually impactful something is. They will always downplay how serious the protest was, how many people were there. I saw it myself, you know, like in New York City when the Black Lives Matter protests were starting because of George Floyd and all these different things. We saw so many people. Like it was like a sea of protesters, and like what you see on the news, like it's like a sliver of what is actually going on in person. And the same thing with Bernie Sanders' rally, when we went to his rally for presidency in 2015 or 2016.
2016?
Yeah, when we
2015.
it was one of his rallies that he had, and I remember being like, whoa, this is historic. Like there's so many people here. And sure enough, it was historic. There were so many people there. Hillary Clinton did not even have one single event that was like this, okay? And like, no, it was just completely downplayed. And so this is the thing, is that the experts are going to always say that these actions and that whatever we're doing on the internet that is for Rafah, for Gaza, for Palestine, for all of these different causes throughout the world, for Congo, for all of these places, right? They're of course going to tell us that it is like not really working that well. That's what they want us to believe. They want to convince people before the momentum keeps building to not join in on the cause. You know, and that's the funny thing is that this generation is being like, really? You know, you just called it clever, but then you're saying that it's not working.
Well, it's just because it's like, I feel like in the past...
Lacks focus. You know what it lacks? It lacks corporate funding. That's what it lacks. What it lacks is oh my God. Bless you. What it lacks is it lacks corporate funding. It lacks the money that they have, and that's what they're saying. They don't have a professional billion-dollar PR team. Like, that's, like, just, they're not just doing it as well as it could be done. Like, I mean, that's what they're basically saying.
It's more like, they're not making us money. It's not worth anything.
No, and then the thing is that we already know the CIA, the FBI, like all these fucking different groups throughout the whole world that work in cahoots with one another, these secret agencies, they're all constantly combating anything that we try to do as a group to actually make change happen. Like, it is just what it is. Like, I mean, like we wanted to touch on this too, like the college protesters. Are you kidding me? They're dragging professors, they're dragging students, they're spraying them with freaking rubber bullets, they're doing all sorts of stuff where it's like, you don't even do this for like, what? Like, you don't even do this for like the Ku Klux Klan. Like, you don't even do this for like real, actual, authentic threats to society. They don't do this. It's
sad because it's just like, it all comes down to money, and it's just like, it's fucked up because it's like, it reminds me, like, obviously this is like, you know, just, it's getting worse and worse progressively as time goes on, right? Like, the problems that we're having to protest for, but, like, it reminds me of when Andrew and I were doing a lot of environmental activism, and there was these huge protests for the Dakota Access Pipeline, and it was insane, like, Standing Rock, some of you might remember, there was encampments there where they were trying to stop them from building this massive pipeline
through a river that supplied water for hundreds of thousands of people.
Like millions of people.
Yeah, millions of people, yes.
And this sacred area that was just going to be completely desecrated, and, you know, and of course that pipeline did get built, and it did already leak as well, because, you know, it's like an insane statistic about how many pipelines end up leaking. It's just like an environmental disaster.
Waiting to happen.
And, you know, it's just, it reminds me of that time, because at that time, they were also, you know, gassing those protesters. They were also hitting them with rubber bullets. They were spraying them with freezing cold water and giving them hypothermia. And so it's just like, and you know what? They've been doing this. Like, honestly, like, look back to, like, the 60s, you know? Look back to, like, the original huge movements in society. They've always been trying to, you know, suppress protesters since the beginning. Like, our government does not do well with protests. Like, they may say, like, you have freedom of speech, but it's like, you have freedom of speech until
we've crossed the line with them, and they've decided that we are doing too much, and then they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. This is going to actually create the change that you guys want. We have to stop you now.
Exactly. They criminalize it. They, you know, make it seem extreme. They villainize it. Whatever they got to do.
How Congress passed this thing where from the river to the sea is like considered anti-Semitic and banned. It's like, Girl, like, that's what our government's doing right now.
Yeah.
That's what our government is focusing on right now. Out of every problem that the country of the United States of America has, you all are able to pass this in one day? Are you kidding me? There's people that have to lobby Congress. They go to Congress like freaking years and years and years just trying to get like a basic law passed. Like something like for seatbelts, or to try to like stop people from getting run over, or from stopping people from drunken driving and all this stuff. No, like this type of thing, oh no, they can pass it in 24 hours.
Right. It's so easy to ban TikTok because they can't have people, you know, talking like that. Only if it's under Mark's fucking algorithm.
Yeah.
It's like, don't show political content.
Yeah, meta shit.
Yeah, meta, like literally, like that alone is insane. Like meta blocking access to political content. Like now, I don't know if you guys knew this, there's a setting on Instagram that is automatically disabled, by the way. They automatically just put it so you don't see political content. You have to go turn that on in order to see the political content.
And of course, most people are never going to do that.
Yeah, because they don't tell you, like, by the way, we just added this setting. If you want to access this, you got to do this. No,
that
just
is
like,
so dystopian.
Yes, exactly.
For real.
That's what I'm talking about, though. It's all dystopian. It's like when we see them going to the Met Gala and we see, like, these images alongside knowing that there's people getting bombed in their freaking homes. And,
in tents, in refugee tents, they're being burned alive.
And, like, there's just all these horrific things that have been going on for years. And millions of people who paid the consequences, like, for horrific actions. And, like, all you care about is like this excess and this fake reality that's like, it's just insane. Like it literally has like so many layers of insanity and like you said, like dystopian.
We have an extremely privileged life, me and Marissa. That's the bottom line. We are very privileged individuals. I may have been raised very
comparatively
poor.
To the whole world.
Yes, comparatively to the whole world. I was raised very, very poor and humbly, like here in the United States. Doesn't change the fact that I was born and raised in the United States, that I have a college degree, that I have 2 college degrees, like, you know, I've traveled, blah 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 blah. Like I've had opportunities in my life that like some people around the world could only dream of, right? And I acknowledge that, you know. I've taken every opportunity and I've ran with it. And the thing is that moving forward with this privilege and the possibility that one day that this podcast will pop off, that one day like my books really will pop off, that my like career will really pop off, right? I can only hope that for myself. And the thing is that when I get there, I can promise you and assure all of you that I will not forget the fact that I am promising to myself right now that I will always use my platform for the good, and I will always use my platform to speak for people who I believe need speaking up for, and for causes that I feel are very close to my heart, you know? It's like, pick a cause, at least pick something, like, geez, like, honestly, like, just do something good for the world, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know, and that's the thing is, it's just like you have to be authentic because it's like there's so many companies that do like all this like philanthropic work, and it's so obvious that it's just like
just
for
to get
PR,
a tax break, you know. Well, okay,
and
one last thought about this.
It's just like, you know, I don't know. I think that it's like you have to accept in a way. I think that it's like if you're going to be a protester of any kind, even if it's just on the internet, even if it's, you know, whatever you're doing. Of course there's going to be some pushback. Of course there's going to be people who don't agree with you. There's going to be people who will villainize you and make you seem extreme and dislike you and unfollow you or whatever. But it's just like, honestly, I think that it's, you know what? You can still be successful. You know,
no matter what.
You don't have to just say like, oh, I have to just be completely like, what's the word? Politically correct and like family friendly. And I can't talk about anything that has meaning because, you know, my fans and, you know, my because all of the people that, you know, are above me, my, you know, my management of my life won't let me do that. It's just like, I don't know, I think that it's very important to stay true to yourself and to what you believe in, and like you said, know where you stand on certain things and know the power that your voice has, especially if you're somebody who has a public platform, and to use that for good, because it's just like, dude, like, you are gonna bear the benefits no matter what of your platform. And yeah, you might lose out on a couple opportunities, but it's just like, at least you're not losing out on your life.
No, I can honestly promise you all that very soon, and I've seen so many people actually say this and agree with this, because once again, I'm a chronic commenter and going through the comments person, and people are saying, you know, like, this is going to be in history books. This time of our lives is going to be spoken about forever. And it's going to be a major historical event. And all of the people who are silent right now, I'm sorry if you've been silent up until this point, maybe you shouldn't be. Because you're going to realize one day that you should not have been silent about this.
Yeah.
And that there is a clear right and a clear wrong in the situation.
Well, because people look back at history and you're able to think, how did the world let that happen? How was this allowed to happen?
How did we let 35,000 people die?
That stuff is still happening.
Yes.
That stuff is constantly happening.
Tragic accidents every day. Like, oh, it was an accident on Israel's part. No, it wasn't an accident. None of this was an accident. No one's believing you. And I was going to comment also, Melissa Barrera, like from Scream, I was so proud of her. So, like, I've been watching a lot of horror movies lately because of the person that I'm dating, my boyfriend. He watches a ton of horror movies. And that's when I watched Scream with Melissa Barrera. And that's when I first got introduced to her as an actress and all this stuff. I was so proud of her. I was like, you know what? Yes, girl. She got fired from the Scream franchise for making pro-Palestine posts. And I was like, you know what? Thank you. You know, you are a person who saw that, like, this was really great for your career. The last Scream movie that I watched, it was a really good movie. She did an amazing job, but she was willing to lose it because of this. And I was like, you know what? I applaud you.
Yeah.
You know, that behavior, that thing, that is somebody that I look up to is what I mean to say.
Yeah.
I look forward to being like her.
Yes.
I look forward to being a person who says, you know what, no, I'd rather step away from this opportunity and let this opportunity go, as Marissa's saying.
Than be complicit.
Yes, than be a person that's, like, afraid to lose my job because I can't speak out about something that doesn't feel right in my heart.
It reminds me of that quote that's, like, very famous, that it's like, you know, if you don't pick a side, you're choosing the side of the oppressor. And it's just, like, it's true. Like, I don't know, and it's just, to me, it's just so obvious that we are suffering the consequences as American citizens of our horrible leadership, of the elitism, of the capitalism, of all of the horrific things
Billions of dollars on war.
And other people, yes, exactly. Like, that, all the, you know, exhaustion that you have every week because you're working so hard just to survive. You know, whatever percentage of your paycheck that is being taken out, like 30% in some states, literally, you know, that's all going to do all these horrific things. And it's just... And to arrest protesters. Yeah. And to do all of these things, to hire police, to do all of these things, to drag people off of their campus from exercising their First Amendment right of free speech, this supposed right that we have in this country. I don't know. It's just, honestly, I mean, you know, we are leaving, obviously, we talked about that already. Okay, we're leaving the country. The thing is that it's not even perfect, because even Sweden is doing this right now. Yeah. And people are saying the same thing about the college protests, that people are being attacked and having dogs sick on them and all these different things. And it's like, you know what? This is happening freaking everywhere. And the bottom line is, guys, is that I think that the main message with this episode truly is that if you're a person who has a platform, or you plan on having a platform, even if you don't, though, because I think the thing is, it's just even like, just with your friends, with your friends and family. People think that it doesn't matter what they do, and people think, oh, well, it doesn't affect me, or I just don't like to be political, and it's just like, dude, I honestly think that people are not going to have that privilege for much longer. Because shit is going to start hitting the fan, you know? They might not be dropping bombs in your neighborhood right now, but climate change is about to pull up, like, it already is pulling up real soon. Okay, yeah, crazy exactly. Tornadoes, predicted worse hurricane season. It's just like, you know, we cannot avoid what is going to happen as a result of all of these actions that are taking place, and it will start affecting you, no matter how untouchable you think you are, like, because you're living in your comfort, like, little reality, you know? And it's just like, I know that it's going to happen, that it's going to be frowned upon to not be that kind of person, and that it is going to happen. I truly believe that there is, like, a revolution that is slowly occurring, and I genuinely believe that this is the turn of the changes that are going to, you know, really ripple through society, and things that are going to take us into the future, you know? But it's just like, this is kind of, you know, I feel like the hardest part almost, where it's like, we're trying to break the paradigm, and we're trying to figure out how we can change things, and you know, there's obviously just growing sentiment for it to want to happen. And so it's a given. And I think we've talked about this before, but I genuinely feel that the reason that things are so extreme right now, and the reason that, you know, these elites, the government, you know, the people in power have created such an extreme situation is that they know that they have to go to extremes in order to suppress the people at this point, in order to suppress the consciousness and, you know, the energy of all of these billions of people that outnumber them that are catching on to their shit, you know? And so I think that they even know that they're not going to be able to keep up the charade for much longer, which is exciting, you know? And personally, I think that for me, I choose to have a positive vision for the future. I choose to have a positive vision of, you know, Palestine having peace, of all of the other countries that have been torn by war and famine and, you know, all of these other greed, exactly,
mining,
exactly, environmental, you know, destruction.
The whole list.
I truly hope, and I you know, I'm putting my energy towards security and peace and access to resources for all the people in the world. And I know that we will get to a place like that eventually, but unfortunately to get there we have to go through this time.
It's growing pains, and it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be fun, and we are going to have to deal with this. Like, I mean, seriously, guys, like, I just look at the way that they respond to protesters, and I just think to myself, like, wow, like, once again, the same comment as with the football, like, game. It's like, can you imagine if we paid people as much as we pay these, like, SWAT members and these cops and all these people and put all the energy towards this that we're using to control our own population?
Yes.
That we used this towards good, that we used this towards actually making this a more equitable, like, more,
dude.
Like, well-run society.
My God, like, how much, like, billions of dollars have we sent to Israel to, like, you know, murder people?
I think it's like $300 billion.
Yeah, I know, and it's like, we could have literally, like, paid for all people to have universal health care. It's definitely solved homelessness and, like, hunger, improved the school system. You know, we could have upgraded the fossil fuel industry, made a sustainable turn for the country, upgraded the infrastructure that is literally collapsing. You know, just a couple suggestions, but it's just like, again, people see the receipts though. You know, people know what this money is going to, and so I think that it's just, you can't fool somebody who knows the truth, because once you know the truth, dude, you can't be brainwashed anymore so easily.
We have literally given them over $300 billion since
insane.
1946. Ugh. $300 billion.
I at this point, I'm like, what's the tea? Like, what is it? Why are we so freaking indebted to Israel?
No, it's our own interest. Just like how Biden has said in the past in his old speeches.
They're their only ally in the Middle East, and how are they going to exploit the fuck out of the Middle East and murder everyone in the Middle East if they
don't have a base?
Don't have an ally.
They basically need a place for all of our military to have bases, basically, and to be able to crash land if they got to crash land there or whatever. They need to have, like, a partner. So that's why they've created a partner.
Well,
but anyway, we won't get into that.
Rearing its ugly head.
You know what? Honestly, truly, I don't know what is going to happen to the people who are responsible. I don't know what's going to happen to Nikki Haley for writing, like, you know, she wrote on this bomb. She's a mother of two, okay? And she wrote, "Finish them," with a heart.
Oh my God! Freaking not Haley Bailey.
It was Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley, yeah.
Not Haley Bailey.
Yeah, I was like,
we're not talking about Haley Bailey.
Yeah, no, I saw that, dude. Prior U.S. presidential candidate Nikki Haley.
She was running against Trump, and a lot of people A lot of people were saying that they were going to vote for her because they were like, well, okay, at least she's not Trump and she's not Biden, and, like, you know, I don't really blame people now for not wanting to vote for Biden. I did not want to vote for Biden when I voted for Biden. I hated the fact that I had to vote for him, but I did, you know.
Well, again, it's like the whole system. They're like, it's shitty versus shittier.
Yeah, exactly. And we're only giving you two options, so good luck.
But this is a democracy. You're free.
Yeah. But we're not going to give the Democrats any debates at all. Like, we're just literally really gonna
yeah,
put
but you
Biden
don't
up on a
actually
stage.
choose whether these are the people you vote for.
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
of just already decided.
It's kind of just there.
But
and we're putting a guy that like has like trouble knowing where he is against a guy that like is on like 5 lines of coke.
He just got convicted of 34 felonies.
And you know what? He's gonna be fine. He's a freaking millionaire.
Like what?
Well, anyway, we are going off on a whole other topic. The point is just that lately...
It's an endless tangent. It really is.
Lately, we have been trying to keep it light on this podcast, and we have been trying to talk about things that are, like, you know, not really addressing the seriousness of the world.
Offer you all just, like, a little escapism, if you will.
And however, the bottom line is that as we're critiquing these people at this very moment in time, we have to use the small platform that we have to create content like this.
And we always will, okay? We've always talked about this. We will never sell out. We will never support companies that are causing the problems.
I refuse.
I just want you guys to know that. Like,
I'd rather
us to this when we're at 1,000 episodes and, you know, Andrew and I are... You know, this is our career. You will still not catch us doing this, okay? And you can clip this, so you'll know. I didn't
get all this education. I didn't do all of the things I did. I did not volunteer. I did not, like, work with nonprofits. I didn't do all of these things. I didn't work as a teacher
it's just
to just be a bad influence, honestly. Or to be someone who just completely ignores the world around me. Like, I was raised in this community of immigrants and of people of color and of Spanish-speaking people, and I was raised in this community. And I can never look at my life outside of how I exist, like, in social issues. Mm-hmm. I know that voting actually matters. I know that these things actually count. I know that what people are doing on social media makes real change. And it doesn't matter how unorganized you are or whether it lacks a goal or whatever it is. Just if you're doing something to make change, if you're speaking about Gaza, if you're speaking about Palestine, if you're posting about it, if you're doing whatever, if you're just posting stuff on your story, thank you and keep going. Because the thing is that this is all we have. Like, seriously, if they're gonna go and break us apart in person and not even allow us to literally get together in person, this is all we got. This is all we got. Blocking people and unfollowing people and commenting on their stuff and reminding them day in and day out that they're not speaking about an injustice that needs speaking out against. If that's the only thing we've got right now, then that's the only thing we've got, and just keep doing it. Keep going, and that's the only thing that we can do. And even speaking about this, like, honestly, yes, like, shame on you. Shame on the celebrities that have not even said one single word. And who have finally, after like 7 months, are posting
now that
something on their
followers.
Exactly.
They're like, oh my god, wait, I actually do care.
Exactly.
I'm not even an elite.
Yes, exactly.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no. And you know what? Like, you know what? I'll give you grace. And I'll say, you know what? Okay, you're turning a leaf. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Because
not just one story.
It's not enough.
Post.
No.
Not just one GoFundMe. You know?
No, it's not enough, girl. It's not enough. Like, seriously, like, how much privilege do you have? How much money do you have? How much influence do you have? Like, come on. It's only right that you do something with this. Like, if you lose a contract or two, if you lose all of your contracts, like, girl, you'll find other companies. You'll find other people that will support you and will be happy to welcome you in. Like,
well, I think that's why it's like there's kind of like this move away from the mega celebrity, the super celebrity, because people just don't trust that anymore, and it doesn't feel authentic, and it does feel so manufactured, like it's a product, you know what I mean, that we're being sold. And I think that's why we're seeing, like, you know, the rise of, you know, just smaller voices and more of a community voice, and that's what's important. And I think that's what we've realized for a long time. You know, Andrew and I have been doing a lot of protesting for years now for a lot of different topics, and we were very, very, very heavily involved in this for years. And, you know, I think that it's just like, I've always known, and we've always advocated for the fact that no matter who you are, no matter how many people you know, your voice is powerful and your voice matters and your voice makes an impact.
You're influencing people.
You are part of the whole, and you have to remember that, that if 100 million people of the 300 million people in the United States say, you know what, my voice, like, they would have spoken up, right? They would have spoken up, but they're just like, it doesn't really matter, or it doesn't really affect me, or I just don't really want to say anything, or I'm afraid people are going to judge me. That is a huge portion of the population that is not, you know, contributing to the possibility of change, to the possibility of situations improving for people just because they think they don't make a difference, right? Because individuals made the decision to not speak up. You have to think about the fact that you are adding to a bigger community of voices, and that if you have 1 million people saying the same thing, suddenly it's heard around the entire city. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Madi, okay. It's okay.
You get what
get
I
us.
mean.
You
You
get
get
us.
what I mean.
You get us. However, okay, so let's just wrap this episode up by saying, once again, we will never sell out, and that we are going to be people who are going to speak about social justice. We are going to be people that are going to speak on environmentalism.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be people that are going to speak on a free Palestine. We are going to be these people. And if you...
block these people.
Yes, exactly. I already blocked a lot of them.
Good.
Yeah, I blocked like most of them already. And the one that I felt like the weirdest about blocking was Lady Gaga. And then I was just like, fuck, I gotta do it.
I don't trust her.
I love that lady.
She is like besties with like some of the people that are like the most
Kinda creepy.
sketchy.
Yeah.
That are like associated with the most sketchy shit, you know? Like she's on that Balenciaga stuff, which is like dark.
Okay, well anyway. Alright guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that we were able to touch on a kind of very serious topic in a way that was digestible.
Yeah.
And cordial. Because I may have very strong opinions, but as I'm saying, as a chronic commenter, that I can engage in dialogue. So if you want to engage in dialogue, if you're someone who's watching a reel about this episode or listening to this podcast or whatever, and you have something you want to say, go ahead and engage with us and have a conversation with us, because I am open to having a conversation with you so long as it stays respectable, you know?
And you know what? Again, like our power is in numbers, our power is in community, and I think that that's another thing to remember is that, you know, divide and conquer, right? So it's like our power is in our oneness, in our connectedness as humans around the world. And that is what's going to create the change that benefits us all. So I look forward to that.
Even if shit completely hits the fan, even if, I don't know, some crazy world conflict happens, even if we're all God tomorrow, life is going to move on. And the planet will move on, and life will be what it is, and we're going to all have to either figure it out or just let nature figure it out for us.
But that's not going to happen, so it's okay.
All right, bye guys.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Do not forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, andymaripod. We've been putting a lot of content out, so make sure you go catch it. andymaripod. And also, if you are just listening to this, make sure you go watch us on YouTube. Andy Madi, the podcast. You can watch us, the videos on YouTube. A lot of our episodes have like pictures and videos, and it's so funny to get to see our lovely faces.
It's more interactive.
It is more interactive. It's
and we look pretty
exciting.
Cute.
Exactly.
So.
You get to see our cute little faces. What's not to love? So make sure you go subscribe, like our videos, comment. Honestly, guys, any engagement is incredible. Rate us on Spotify, rate us on Apple Music, give us 5 stars, leave a comment. I know, Apple Music. You know, you get the idea. Just click some buttons and we will love you forever. So thank you so much for joining us today for another episode of
Andy
and Marty,
the podcast.
The podcast.